Well, welcome to another Bitcoin analysis video. This is, we're recording this in May 2023. We're going to do a long-term analysis of Bitcoin, where it's at, kind of look at some of the key levels. We are in what I call the third crisis. That I'm looking for one event that will signal that the third crisis is over. Now, if you're not sure what that is, I do have a free report and a series of videos that I've created. I'll share that at the end of the video, how you can find that. It's on my website, so it's something you can find. It's a free download PDF. It includes quite a bit of technical analysis, statistical analysis, and a bunch of different things. So let's jump in. We are looking at the yearly chart, the 12-month chart on Bitcoin. Now, the first thing that you probably should see, which would be really clear, is that based on just the closes and opens of this chart, we are hitting a significant level, which is 50% of this overall, at least this alpha channel of the previous year. So we can say beyond a doubt it is hitting a significant level. Obviously, one of the things you would look at is that if it closes above 31,200 or so, retest it, there's an opportunity it might go to the next key level. If we do look at this down here and we just kind of do an overall, okay, when did it really start its run from here, from really 2017, we just doing an over analysis, just using the closes, we can see, okay, there's another key level just using on these simple statistics at right around 35,000. So we'll keep that in mind. I would suggest you probably keep these numbers in mind as you move forward trading Bitcoin. Let me move to my other chart. So we're going to move to my super chart. Now, I understand some people are going to look at this and say, man, that's way too many lines, way too much stuff. I just got a headache. Give me a Tylenol, give me an Advil. I need to do some other stuff. But hey, this chart has a specific purpose. I use it for long-term technical analysis. All members have access to this chart, so any of these key levels. Also, in addition, we have various value channels. You can remove these things, so you can remove all the anchored VWAPs, for instance. You can see there, they're all gone. We can remove the anchored VWAPs. You can remove the key levels. So this is something that members have access to. You're able to then go and copy this chart, make it your own, and edit it. All right, so let's jump in. We're going to start with the 4-day as we typically do, because you're a deity if you trade this on the crypto market. Say that many times before. The first thing that you should notice is that we're in this value channel here. How long has this value channel lasted? We will say this value channel has lasted roughly 44 days. That's just about around the average of a typical value channel. There's kind of a value channel range between 44 and 63 days, and then there's another one between 63 and 112. I mean, I could limit it down. There's 3 different kind of averages. We're kind of at the near the average where the shorter average is. The first thing that I would point out here, if we just look at this, is we've got our key levels here drawn. We are in the midst of a lot of significant high and significant low VWAPs, anchored VWAPs. So all these VWAPs that you see here, these green and red lines, these are coming from significant highs or significant lows. We're in the middle of all those ranges. So obviously the first thing that you probably should think about is, okay, if price does spike up to this January 2022 key level here, it's going to capture all of the significant high and significant low VWAPs. You'd like to see an overshoot and then something like this, a retest down here, and then that holding up for you to have a little bit more confidence. I think the most major level across all charts, all time frames, is this level right here, right around 39,773. 39,773 is a pretty critical level for whether or not it's going to take out the all-time highs, or it's going to come down and find another level below. So that, in a nutshell, is really what we're looking for on the upside analysis. I mean, you can see here, if you're used to trading the system, we're bias long, we're momentum long. It did retest the RDA. One of the concerning things that we're seeing develop right now in this current bar is we are seeing a triangle pattern on the Rexdog RSI. So we've got if you see here, I thought I muted that. If you see here, we've got this here, and what this is the first RSI signal. We've got the counter signal, and then this bar has not yet developed yet. So it has not yet developed yet. And but we are about 6 hours left in this bar. If that signal fires as far as it closes and it remains, then we have a 3 triangle pattern in the RSI. That would mean that we would be a little suspect of, we would be waiting for potentially a sell-off, a deeper sell-off, because the third signal in this triangle pattern is the last signal that fires and the last signal that is really the control signal. So that's something concerning, at least on the 4-day chart, as far as from a perspective of whether or not price will move up. So before we drop down to the daily, let's just continue our 4-day, make sure we're not missing anything. It should be very clear for those that trade the system or actually follow me at all, the key levels that we're looking at here, the key levels that are important. You should know how to do this by now. I'm not going to go over the basics. If you have questions, you'll find a link below to join Discord to ask questions if something's not clear. We do show up every single day. We actually live stream our trades as well. So if you have questions, go ahead and ask. But I'm not going to go over just the basics all the time, because here's the thing. With alpha members, people that are adopting the system that we trade, I shouldn't have to go through and tell you what the key levels on the 4-day are. You should see it within 2 seconds of looking at the chart. So I shouldn't have to sit here and draw these things for you. There's other things that I can draw and value I can provide, but I shouldn't have to draw the basics for you. All right, let's jump down to the daily chart here. On the daily chart, we're going to see, like I said, I know the chart's ugly. I know there's a lot of things going on, but just look at the overall long-term trend and just kind of look at the actual, I use the word trend. Just look at the overall long-term momentum and bias of the chart. Oh, man, that's a slip up. I'm going to leave that in too. All right, so here we are on the daily. The first thing is that obviously we're above the RDA. We're above a couple key levels. We're fighting with whether or not momentum's going to remain long. So we do have a little bit of a changeover state here. This changeover state could last for a while. So one of the things that I would look for is obviously this weekly level is pretty important. So we'd watch this weekly level. And then the last line in the sand is the RDA. So as long as it closes above the RDA, our upside targets are really more in focus. If it closes below the RDA, then we're going to start looking at some of our downside targets. Obviously, it's kind of a cliff. Your first downside area that you would be really focused on is this inflection area right here that has not been tested yet. So this inflection area hasn't been tested. So at a minimum, the first sell-off that I would expect or see is probably something along the lines, what's that, 15-20%? It's probably more than that. Yeah, about 15-20%. So I would expect maybe a 15% sell-off down to this inflection area because it's yet to be tested. This has not been tested. So I would expect a test down to there. And then what we would like to see, obviously, from a long perspective is that test would I mean, you can give it 1 or 2 days, but it better come up and recapture the RDA. That's something you're going to want to see. What you would watch for, if it does take out the RDA, you'd watch for it to hit the RDA, and then is it going to sell off, and then is momentum going to switch over? The best chart to watch for all of this stuff on a lower time frame at this point in time, based on how the structure is the 4-hour, the 240. That is the best chart to watch. The best chart, the 240 is holding structure and is providing very good structural trades. Very, very good structural trades. So the 240, if you're doing swing trading like I do, I mean, I stack Bitcoin and I do swing trading. I use the 240 as my structure chart. Obviously, I'm looking at the higher time frames, the deity level that I mentioned. And then I drop down for 60, and then I do my entries on the 60. And I trade with no stop losses. So I do my swing trades on Bitcoin with no stop losses. Mainly because, look, Bitcoin's going to do 1 or 2 things in my mind. It's either going to go to zero, all governments are going to try to destroy it, the comet's going to hit the earth, and zombies are going to come, and then it's going to go to zero. Or it's going to go above 100K. That's really kind of my philosophy of Bitcoin based on my analysis, my technical analysis, being in this market since 2016. That's just my feel. Obviously, you shouldn't take my financial advice. I know nothing that I'm talking about. I know nothing about trading. I know nothing about, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an attorney. I'm an accountant. I don't even play one on YouTube or TV. So that's what I would say about that. But what I do is I do use the 4-hour as the structure chart, and that guides the majority of my swing trades. So that's what I would suggest. Now, members, obviously, now I'll go over to my website because I did promise this, because there's not much more I can say. It's really obvious. We got this inflection area down here. You know, one of the things I'll share is if you're having a challenge trading and you're having a challenge making decisions around trading, one of the best things you can do is just get to a binary decision state. What I mean by binary is it's only two decisions. Like right now, for instance, I'll just share with you where the chart is at right now. There's no trade. You have no edge where the chart's at right now. This can go 50. It's literally less. It's 50-50. Now, some people will say every trade is 50-50. Well, not really. Not in the system we trade. In the system we trade, we have tremendous edge. So not every trade we do is 50-50. We always have the probabilities on our side when we do a trade. So right now, though, look at this. We're in the middle of a range. This can go 50-50. Yes, it's bias and momentum long. Of course, the higher time frames are bias and momentum long. So you're going to have a long bias. But at this point in time, if you're entering a trade, there is no edge as far as the structure of the market on the 4-hour time frame. There's zero edge. It can go either way at this point in time. So really, what you should be planning, if you are planning, is obviously drop down to the lower time frame, the 60, and then plan high probability reactionary trades. That's what you should be doing. Drop down to the 60 and then do high probability reaction area trades. I'll share your first reaction area trade, obviously, is that weekly open. That's a high probability reaction area. See this little D here, the RDA? That's a high probability reaction area. And then, of course, you've got this zone here. So right here, right around 28,300. I mean, those are high probability reaction areas for going long. The short side should be just as obvious. All right, let me end the video with show you where to go if you want like deeper analysis and you want to get really awesome. So if you head over to my website, let me see here. I'll open this up, and then I have a link here. This is this is my P&L. So if you are wondering, so for instance, some people might wonder what's my P&L. This is my P&L on live streams. So this P&L is basically on the live streams that I do. So you can see me watch and make it live when I live trade. Now for Bitcoin, where you want to go is you want to go to the updated analysis is where I do updated analysis. And then this here, the deep analysis, profiting from the third crisis. And then this is my ultimate half-baked Bitcoin analysis. There's a series of videos. You can download this for free. No email, nothing like that. You just download it. And then in this document, you'll find various, you can read through it all. If you're into this type of stuff, I think you'll like it. So definitely I do a deep analysis. I share some statistical analysis. And then at the end, if you want to know my thinking that hasn't changed at all, if we go to the end, I kind of share how I think this is all going to play out. If we get there, man, I forgot how long this document is. Jeez. So here, I share kind of my overall feel of the current market, the third Bitcoin crisis, and basically I outline what I see happening and where I see things going. And then I keep in mind too, when I wrote this, I predicted pretty much where we're at right now. So I'm not one to say I told you so, but pretty much it was pretty obvious what Bitcoin was trying to do. So here, this just provides the full kind of what I see, also a Tether outcome. I share a couple different things about the digital dollar and programmable money. So if you're into this type of stuff, definitely check it out. It's free to download. You'll see a link down below in the description. Hey, subscribe and like. That's what you should do. I never say that in videos, but I see other YouTubers do it. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should try that. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Cool.